Jesus said, when you pray, say, Our Father, who art in heaven. You know this prayer. You were taught it from your earliest days. Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. It was repeated in Sunday school or in children's chapel where your teacher would go over it word by word. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It's the Lord's Prayer, originating from the Gospel of Luke when Jesus' disciples asked him to teach them how to pray. Give us this day our daily bread. It's a prayer of nourishment. And forgive us our trespasses, a prayer of penance. As we forgive those who trespass against us, it's even a prayer of compassion. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Evil. Deliver us from evil. It's always been such an elusive word for me. Some people, when they hear the word evil, go directly to the devil or Satan or demons to describe the forces at work against us. When we hear evil described as this, it sounds so supernatural in our modern day. And I think because of it, we often associate evil with the grand examples of wickedness in our world, be it war or famine or terrorism. And we think if we are delivered from those, perhaps then our prayers have been answered. In our gospel for today, we have an interesting story. It takes place in the last week of Jesus' life. Things have been escalating. You've seen it in the various readings when we see the Pharisees or the chief priests or the scribes confront Jesus in the temple. Jesus is increasingly being seen as dangerous by the religious establishment. And today a new group is introduced, the Herodians. Now little is known about this group, but one can assume by their name that they are loyal to Herod Antipas, or King Herod as he was called, though he was never actually king. Because you see, Herod ruled on behalf of Caesar, on behalf of Rome. So the Herodian loyalty always tilted towards the empire. So the Pharisees, along with the Herodians, plotted to entrap Jesus. Now it's worth noting that the Pharisees and the Herodians weren't exactly friends. While the Pharisees wanted to restore the kingship from the line of David, the Herodians were relatively happy with things just the way they were with Herod in charge. These were two rival political groups that would usually want nothing to do with one another, but here they are, their focus on Jesus. Teacher, they say, we know that you are sincere and teach in the way of God in accordance with truth and show difference to no one, for you do not regard people with partiality. Tell us then, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor or not? Folks, this is not a simple question. It wasn't even truly a question of taxes. It was a question of loyalty versus treason. Caesar was not exactly popular in religious circles. He had taken control of the Judean land. He had enforced taxes on the people. You remember how unpopular tax collectors are within the Bible? And those taxes, they went to Rome. So if he said yes, he would upset the crowds. On the other hand, for Jesus to say, no, do not pay your taxes to the emperor, meant his sure demise. Rome was not kind to those who refused to pay their taxes, and the Herodians would be sure the proper authorities would be told of Jesus' tax rebellion. This question had no politically correct answer. The Gospel of Matthew says, Jesus, aware of their malice. Malice. In the Greek, this is the same word that Jesus uses in his prayer for evil. Deliver us from evil. Deliver us from malice. You know, sometimes the evil we do isn't some grand satanic force. It's like the Pharisees and the Herodians. It's our plotting against one another. It's our cruelty towards those whom we do not understand. It's our hate, our disgust, our loathing against someone else. that just so happens to be equally made in the image of God as us. Now, Jesus does have a profound answer that leaves the Pharisees and the Herodians walking away astonished, but that's not what I want to focus on today. Not about how Jesus is clever or masterful, or about taxes, or about stewardship, which is where this text usually leads us. But rather, how do we recognize evil when it approaches us? How do we identify malice when it develops from within us? Deliver us from evil. It is a prayer that God would reorient our lives away from anger, away from the malice, the evil of this world. Be it anger inflicted upon us or anger festering deep within us. You know, one thing's for sure. Right now we live in a very angry time. This virus and its repercussions have stretched us all well beyond our comforts. It has taken things away from us, what we love to do, who we love to see, how we want to interact with the world around us. And folks, it's all too clear to me that this anger is festering deep within us. Malice is growing. And if that weren't enough, we're also living in an election season, where tense times only deepen, plotting and entrapment run rampant, as it is in our nature to do everything we can to win when we believe the stakes are high. It is tempting to behave like the Pharisees and the Herodians did towards Jesus. So my prayer for you today, my prayer for myself, my prayer for all of us in these truly unsettling times is well known. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. From the evil that might be inflicted upon us, from the evil we might inflict on others. And lead us instead to be agents of community and love, so that when we are confronted with malice, it may turn away and leave just like the Pharisees and the Herodians, astonished by God's grace. I love you. God bless you. Goodbye for now. Oh, and don't forget about the barbecue.